Welcome back, everyone. Round 3 of the Dortmund Sparkassen Chess Meeting produced more exciting games. This one that I'm about to show you is played between Leinier Dominguez and Nepomniachtchi. So Dominguez is having a great year thus far, coming in second at the US Championships, and his ELO is getting closer to his peak, which was 2768. So Nepomniachtchi is the highest rated player in this event, and he is always fun to watch. So without further ado, let's dive right into this game. So Leinier with the white pieces open with e4. Caro-Kann defends from Nepomniachtchi. Dominguez decides to play the advanced variation, and Nepo responds with c5. Typical pawn break in Caro-Kann and French defense structures. So Nepo took. And here bishop d3 from Dominguez, which is a less common move compared to the main lines knight f3 and bishop e3. And this quickly leads us into new territory. Bishop takes c5, and as seen many times in the French defense, g7 is often vulnerable, so queen g4 played by Dominguez, knight e7. So Dominguez doesn't capture on g7 since it gives black way too much activity after rook g8. Here he played the move b4. b4 is a novelty, and there is only one game in the database in this position which continued with knight f3. So with b4, Dominguez might be planning to fianchetto his bishop in some lines just to support that e5 pawn. Nepomniachtchi played h5, the queen retreated, bishop dropped back, and here knight b to c6, an innocent developing move, but there is a threat. So if bishop b2, then black can play knight takes b4, which nets a pawn, because if queen takes, then bishop a5 wins. So here knight b to d2 played by Dominguez. Of course, castling is also an option, but we have knight b to d2. Nepo played a5, and already after 10 moves, we have a very interesting position on the board. And here white has to make a decision. Does he advance his pawn, or does he play b takes a5, which seems less attractive because it damages the structure, and it does give black a semi-open file. So if c3, then you can play this, rook a4 with some initiative. If a3, then knight takes b4, this pawn is pinned. So you might be thinking, what if bishop b5 check? Well, black still wins tactically after bishop d7, and after bishop takes rook, there's the very nice knight to d3 check. So going back to the position, Nepo decided to push. And now bishop b2 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. For example, knight takes d3. And black can push a4. This pawn is a little bit weak. And the bishop is not really needed on b2, since e5 is sufficiently protected by the knight and the queen. And it kind of takes away this idea of defending the b5 pawn with rook b1. Likewise, if a3, black simply achieves his goal of pushing a4. So in this position, Nepomniachtchi played bishop a3. More active square for the bishop, putting nice pressure on this diagonal. So black took to avoid losing a pawn. So black can play a4, but after knight g5, castles, queen h4, with a sharp position and chances for both sides. So bishop d7 was played. Queen a4 from Dominguez, just to stop this a4 push. Position is roughly equal, but black has nice potential with his two bishops. That is, if he can open up the position, for example, with f6. Might be possible to play it right away, but Nepomniachtchi played knight to f5. And he played g5, very aggressive. And this discourages Dominguez from castling, but Dominguez reacted very well. He played h3, simply stopping g4. Rook c8. King to e2. So this rook can now come into the game. White has some pressure with his rook coming to c1 and this slightly weak pawn on a5. And black's obvious plan is to try and open up the position with f6. He can also try to undermine e5 with a g4 push, but this will take a few moves. Rook g8 followed by g4. So maybe in this position, Nepomniachtchi could have tried the move queen d8. Queen d8 simply defends a5, and g5 prepares f6, and also keeps the option of this rook g8, g4. But Nepomniachtchi played queen to b8. His idea is probably to go rook g8 followed by g4, but this is a bit slow. Knight b3, now white has the initiative. Queen a7 from Nepo, and now the rook swings into the game. Rook c1. Nepomniachtchi manages to get in g4 here, but his queen is completely sidelined on a7. So this isn't that effective. This looks dangerous for Dominguez, but here he played the simple knight c5, just cutting off the queen, cutting off the coordination. Taking would be extremely bad because after bishop takes b6, there's rook h1 with a crushing position, taking advantage of the back rank issue. So bishop g3 from Nepomniachtchi, and now a nice move, rook h1. So again, you can't capture the rook because of queen g8 check. Knight takes b7 with mate to follow. So Nepo played rook f8. And now rook to h5. And in this position, Jan Nepomniachtchi resigned. Black is dropping material due to the threat of rook captures knight, followed by queen captures bishop. So a very short game, just 25 moves. Great stuff from Dominguez. With this result, Dominguez leads the field, and he is currently the world number 8 on the live rating list at 2767. If you want to see more chess content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It's free. Thanks for watching and have a great day.